Right, hello, let's just get straight into this. So basically, welcome to my channel. I'm up in the countryside, what countryside there is, in North Manchester, and welcome to my channel. You got the spring lambs out there. Can you see? I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you might be able to see. And in the background, you've got Manchester. That is Manchester city centre with a tower block there. Can you see it? This side is Hartshead Pike. Can you see that on top? I think it's called Hartshead Pike in the distance. So I'm as far up on the top as I can get. Not that far from where I live in North Manchester. So, hello and welcome to my channel. I'm out and about on my mountain bike. I nearly said motorbike then. That's another one. Anyway, quite out of breath. I've just come up this steep hill to get here, pedalling. So yes, hello. My name's LJ, and I'll be going out and about all over the place. Hopefully around the country as well, because that's what I like to do with my bike, or general sightseeing, which I absolutely love to do. And I want to talk about my existence in the UK at this moment in time. You might be asking, your existence, what do you mean? Well, basically, I'm what's called a transsexual woman. And I started transitioning, taking HRT, which would be estrogen, in 2016. Obviously, it's 25 now, so it's not far off 10 years. I've been transitioning as a transsexual person. The first few years was really quite difficult because I was required by this gender identity clinic in Sheffield that I went to for years to live in my preferred gender for 2 years minimum. Which, yes, I wanted to do that, but I know now I must have looked a damn sight, and that wasn't fair of them to make me do that, because they want to prove eventually, when I decided then to ask for a gender recognition certificate, chasing away a fly, to ask for a gender recognition certificate, which most people will have heard about in the UK right now, due to the latest ruling by the UK Supreme Court on what is a woman and what isn't a woman. We all know about this because it's all over the media. The media can't stop talking about it. They're obsessed with trans people. Now, trans people, in this big umbrella, you've got transgender, and underneath you've got lots and lots of different categories, like cross-dressers, transvestites, non-binary, drag queens, so on and so on and so on. Now, I'm supposed to fit under this umbrella, but I don't basically believe in this transgender umbrella, because I class myself as a transsexual, because I've medically transitioned in every way, physically, I possibly can. Now, people talk about biology and all this stuff. Biology is very, very complex, and people are just jumping on the bandwagon saying biology and sex is gender. XX chromosomes and XY, it's not that easy. There's a lot more involved in that. And this ruling by the UK Supreme Court is totally wrong. And it's like it's opened Pandora's box, because it's not that plain and simple. I've spoken to biologists who study the human body and the chromosomes. It's not as simple as that. This is just a game by the patriarchy to keep trans people subdued and erase trans people. So we haven't got a right to exist, basically. So you've got these hate groups, like these people that went to the Supreme Court, funded by £70,000 worth of J.K. Rowling's money, and sources from America that are very anti-trans, probably the fundamental religious right-wing Christian organisations in America. This is the information that's coming out. And the Supreme Court, these 5 old people that don't know anything about trans people, probably never met a trans person in their life, or don't know anything about their lives, what they go through, they've just decided to chuck a spanner in the works. Not looking at the different categories, like myself, who is a transsexual, had all the physical transformations I possibly can. Costing me the earth, by the way, most of it. Some done on the NHS. Diagnosed by the NHS with gender dysphoria to say that I've got this discomfort with my own gender that I was assigned in at birth by the doctor. And I had that trouble all my life. And then I got assigned after years, after psychological counselling, to receive counselling, and then eventually, after going private, estrogen medication to alter the state of my mind, to make me feel more like in line with the way that I felt in my mind, if you understand what I'm saying. More how I saw myself. And then the rest came later over nearly the 10 years. I've paid lots of money to have different transformations. I've had gender reassignment surgery. I don't mind to say that. Gender reassignment surgery, in some countries they call it sex reassignment surgery. I've had all that on the NHS. The NHS paid for this, diagnosed me fit after 2 referrals from top psychologists, psychiatrists, to say that I am fit to do that. I've got no mental illnesses whatsoever. A lot of bigots out there like to say we've got mental illnesses. I've got none. But now I got diagnosed a couple of years ago with PTSD. PTSD, you know what that is? Post-traumatic stress disorder, whatever it's called. A couple of years ago, due to the crap and the harassment and abuse that I got when I first started to transition, when I was required by the gender clinics to live in my preferred gender. I must have looked ridiculous. Yet in my mind, due to the medication I was on, I thought I looked okay. But when I look back now, I looked ridiculous. And this is what they want people to do, and it's wrong. I would never ever do that now. I would always recommend that you go stealth for 3 years or something at least, until you're ready to try to gel into society, which is even harder these days because most people can't even get into a gender clinic because the NHS funding for trans people is just like appalling. To say you haven't got a mental illness but yet they diagnose you with these things, they need to be looking after you and they don't do. So I was just like left diagnosed with this gender dysphoria and thrown into the wilderness, and that's what happened to me. So then I went private, started getting my own medication till they eventually decided, after lots of counselling and lots of flip-flopping about like Keir Starmer does, our Prime Minister, Mr. Flip-Flop Starmer, they decided to go ahead and put me on hormones and so on and so on. And here I am, 10 years later, nearly 10 years later I should say, nearly, not quite, but not far off it. And here we are, living in a society in 2025 that has not got any better for people like me. Now, I work with the public, and I'm at a stage now where I don't get misgendered in any way, shape or form, or nobody said anything to me. And believe you me, I work with hundreds of people every single day from the public that I'll probably never see again. I can't talk about me, where I work, or what I do, or any names. That is law in my company. I don't do that. The company that I work for, and I'll be ever eternal to them giving me a job because I work with a decent set of people. You always get people that are not so good, don't you? But what do you do with them? You just overlook them and dismiss them, don't you, kind of thing, and just do your job around them, sort of thing. That's what you do. But in the past, I've suffered so much harassment, discrimination, victimisation, bullying, even sexual harassment as the years went on. Sexual harassment, believe it or not, yes, I did. You see, biological women, and some people like to say cisgendered women, People hate the word cis, but it's there. If you Google cis, it comes up from the Oxford Dictionary. So it's there. But just so I don't offend the people that might be a bit sensitive to this, I will say biological men and women. Okay. So I've had that, sexual harassment. So as the years go on, that's what you get. People feel like they can sexually harass you. And this is what happens. So, yes, I've turned into a feminist and want to stand up for women's rights. But then at the same time, I'm getting bullied by this group called For Women Scotland that went to the Supreme Court, all because up in Scotland, the First Minister at that time, what's she called? Help me out, guys. The First Minister for Scotland, I remember her name in a moment. She's not in power now. She's like stepped down sort of thing. She wanted to bring out self-identification for all trans people. Well, I don't necessarily believe in that, because you can get biological men that identify as men, then wanting to say, now I'm a woman, I'm going to go into women's toilets. I understand that completely. And I also understand, because I don't know biology that much, that I'm not a biological woman. I am a trans woman. Despite my years on hormones, despite all the surgeries I've had and everything, I don't call myself a biological woman, but I am a woman. Until more and more details come out publicly about biology and chromosomes. Now, like I say, I have spoken to biologists who deal with chromosomes and everything to do with the human body. And they believe there's so many variations, including intersex people, there's so many variations. Who knows what we are? And yet all this talk about women's safe spaces and going into public toilets. I've been going into women's toilets for years. I had one complaint where I worked a while ago in this other company from a group of people when I first started to transition, because I was using their toilets, even though I was legally entitled to, under the protected characteristic of gender reassignment from the Equalities Act 2010. And we've got a plane going over. I'm panning around, letting you see the views as I talk. That's obviously Manchester back there, just the tops of the buildings. So yeah, I had that. And they want me now, well, it's not law, it's just guidance from the EHCR, is it? Something like that. Run, anyway, chaired by a Baroness Kishwar Faulkner, who, she's a known transphobe. She's a known hater of trans people. How have you got somebody who's supposed to be working for the UK Equalities Department? I don't even know who funds it, to be honest with you, sitting in a chair when she's a known transphobe. She's not for the rights of everybody. So that is not fair to begin with, is it? So that's completely and utterly wrong, I'm afraid. So she shouldn't be there. So basically, if the law somehow does change, and there's people, lawyers going to court and everything over this at this moment in time, because even though I've got a gender recognition certificate to basically legally say that I am now female, and a new birth certificate to say that I am female, some people are saying they're invalid. Well, it's not been said yet that they are invalid. They never used to pick on people with gender recognition certificates, because there's hardly any people, trans people in the UK, got them. Hardly any people whatsoever. See, not everybody's been going for them. Not everybody's wanted them, because they've not felt they've had to do. But I wanted this for something to do with myself. Just something I always wanted. So I got a new certificate, birth certificate and gender recognition certificate. Are they valid? We don't know yet. But some people out there now want me to start using the toilets of, should we say, my biological sex, my assigned sex at birth? Male toilets, me. I'm sorry, but what would happen if I started to use male toilets? I mean, you can't see me, but it's just not right anyway. You know what I mean? I can't balance my phone on nothing to get a screen, sorry. So I'm holding it with my hand to do the filming. But they want me to do that, and they want biological, they want trans men who look like men, guys, look like guys, to start using the toilet of their assigned sex at birth. Because they're assigned female at birth, they want to, some people think that they should start using female toilets. So you've got a guy, looks completely like a guy going into a female toilet. What's going to happen? All hell's going to be at least, but what else is supposed to do? We're supposed to carry a bucket. I might have to start carrying a bucket around with me so I can do my business just there and then in the street, on a bucket, in a bucket, and I've got a squat. So it's just absolutely appalling. And like, you're going to get biological males, which are proper perverts, rapists, whatever they might be, deviants, pretending to be a trans man. Pretending to be a trans man and going into female spaces. Saying, oh, I'm a trans man, the government's made me do this. So these people have not thought it through. It's just absolutely appalling. And where are these people going to go next with all of this, I wonder, these bigots? We call them TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists. Well, they're not feminists. They just hate trans people, and they're funded by the right wing, the far right, and the people like J.K. Rowling, who's obviously had a traumatic experience with a trans person somewhere along the line. So she took it out on all of us. I never had an issue with J.K. Rowling. She doesn't even know me. I'm nobody. Everybody knows J.K. Rowling, almost. Why is she doing this to people like me? You know, she could be the friends of trans people. But she must have had a problem with a trans person and took it personally. I've not offended her. Why is she taking her beef, as they say, beef out upon me? I've done nothing to her. And I've not done anything to anybody else neither. I just live my life. I'm a single person. I just live my life in society. Go to work, maybe get the odd holiday if I'm lucky. Save up hard. Try to make ends meet. In a world that's going mad, prices are going out of control, food's expensive and everything else, I just try to get by the best that I can after facing so much humiliation, so much rejection, even from family. My own family do not speak to me. Now they'll say that's because of other reasons. No, it isn't. I know why it is. It's because I transitioned. Now, I'm ex-military as well. I served my country since I was 16 years old. I did serve in the British Army. Now they probably expect me to fulfill this role in society, in this binary role of male. I've had kids, they've all grown up, they do what they want to do. They have their own lives. So I've got my life. But I've got other members of family as well, and they just don't want to know. They can blame me on whatever they want to do. That's entirely up to them. I can live with that. I can totally not live with that. Yeah, you like my t-shirt, by the way? Just looking as well. Prodigy. I saw Prodigy in 2012 at Download Festival. Do you know where Download Festival is? It's a place in Donington Park on the outskirts of Derbyshire. It was amazing. I saw them there in 2012, and also the reforming of Black Sabbath and bands like Soundgarden. Metallica did a whole set lift of the Black Album. It was awesome, and I never really liked Prodigy that much until I saw them, and now they're great. So anyway, I've just got a Purge t-shirt on. I'm waffling. I'm digressing. That's what I do. So anyway, if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, nice comments, please, if you want to give a comment. I don't ask for any hassle, none at all. So, advice, comments on the place where I am, anything whatsoever, please subscribe to my channel and like. Thank you so much. My name is LJ. Like and subscribe. Thank you so much.